Hello, and welcome to an episode of Booktube Buddy Read. My name is MJ, and I have a channel called Reading This Life.
And I'm Michael Romeo with Michael Romeo Talks Books with my baby Titley.
And we're here with a Booktube Buddy Read. And we, how did this all start, Michael?
I did a what do you call it, a month-end wrap-up and next month TBR, and mentioned I was going to be reading The Hunger, and you popped up and said, I have that book, maybe we could do a buddy read. And I said, sounds like a good idea.
And that was the best decision ever. So
yeah.
let's talk about the book. Okay, so we talked about how we got to the book and the buddy read. So let's talk about the book. Now, what drew me to this was the movie. So I had no idea that this was actually a book, and I had no idea that this was a book by Whitley Strieber. And Whitley Strieber has written a bunch of different novels, but when I saw this advertised, and I'm like, what? This movie came out in 1981, and it starred David Bowie, Catherine Deneuve, and Susan Sarandon, and also Willem Dafoe is in there too. And it was just, it had that 70s chic disco vibe, just very ethereal. And when I found out this was a book, I'm like, I have to read that book. So do you remember seeing the movie?
I remember seeing the movie. It was, I won't say how many years ago. Well, we all know how many years ago. It was 40 years ago. I saw it at a drive-in theater with the movie Cat People.
I love that movie with Natasha Kinski. That's a fantastic double bill.
It was a great double bill.
Yeah.
And I don't have a memory of a lot of specifics about the movie, but I remember the feel of it. I remember the sense I had of it, like you said, being very chic, very very stylish.
Yes.
And it was just, having been a Catherine Deneuve fan, seeing a lot of her earlier movies, which were a lot of art house releases, I was ecstatic to see her play a vampire. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. Catherine Deneuve as a vampire.
And for me, it was David Bowie. David Bowie, when I was a kid, was everything. I was fascinated by him. And I'm like, he's a vampire? He's an actor? I need to see this. So when you mentioned this book, I'm like, oh, we have to buddy read this.
Yes.
So let's talk about when we got started. So we read this, what, 2 weeks ago? A week ago?
Yeah, about that. Week and a half.
Okay, so when you dove in, let me just feature the step back cover, because this is one of the reasons why I wanted this. Is you have nice, she's just with her dude, and then the vampire comes out. Classic step back. And this is a paperback from hell, so it's a classic paperback from hell step back cover. So when you first started reading the book, tell me your thoughts, your emotions. Were you gripped immediately? Was it a slow burn?
Well, actually, when I first started reading the book, I had just gotten home from working third shift and fell asleep about 10 pages into the prologue. And when I woke up and realized I fell asleep, I decided I better, when I'm more awake, I'm going to start again right from the beginning. And when I did, it hooked me right from the start, right with the character that David Bowie played in the movie, taking on a victim, and it's like, okay, this is going to be good.
Really good. I was gripped immediately, and this is one of those books where I think in my first sitting I probably read 40 pages, and I might have messaged you and said, oh, this is going to be epic. Now, for anyone that doesn't really know exactly what we're talking about, we're not giving any spoilers away, right? We're going to keep it spoiler free. Catherine Deneuve's character, and the main character, is a vampire, and she is an ancient vampire. And there are some issues that are going on with her companions, and there's some science involved. There's a lot of stuff going on. But if you love vampire books, you may just love this.
Absolutely.
So what do you think what are your favorite themes that you picked out of the book? What parts did you enjoy? What characters did you enjoy? What did you really get like a sense of?
I I was absolutely captivated by Miriam, the Catherine Deneuve character.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to buy into all the other characters being overwhelmed by her and she was able to control them just with the force of her personality, basically, because she
Yeah.
was able to do that to me as the reader.
Mm-hmm.
She was so well written,
Yes.
and combine that with the science of aging and the whole theme of wanting eternal life, and it just carried me along.
Yeah. There were so many great themes with this. I really enjoyed how the science piece tied into it. I loved
Mhm.
how Whitley is a very interesting writer because
He is.
at first I'm like, I think I might be a little bored, but absolutely not. He carried this book in such a way that seemed effortless. It was almost as if you were sitting down, watching a movie or a television show or something like that. His
Mhm.
writing put you right there in the room with everything happening. And I thought that was, and I've never read Whitley Strieber before. I have another one of his books, but just his prose just had this ethereal quality regarding Miriam.
Mhm.
Like the way that he described her, and that, she was glowing and she had this presence about her. And I found it very interesting with the capitalization of some of the words that described her attributes. So regarding the touch with the T, or the sleep with a capital S, because that if something's capitalized and it's not normally capitalized, it's capitalized for a reason, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and in this case, it was the touch and the sleep were all kind of almost supporting characters.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I also loved, of course, the themes of aging and anti-aging, and what is
Uh-huh.
it like to live forever, but then also what is it like to possibly be with your companion, your companion is aging.
Right. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
living forever and your companion isn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a whole strong theme in the book.
Mhm. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, how long did it take you to read the book?
It took me just about a week.
Yeah.
'Cause it was a busy week at work, and I just that's my reading time is at work. I work third shift.
Mhm.
So it took me a little longer to read it than I expected. But
Yeah.
given my druthers, I could have read it in one day.
Yeah, no, I think this was one of those books where I didn't want to finish like fast.
Hmm.
I wanted to draw it out and I really wanted to savor it. This was one of those savoring books where,
Uh-huh.
you have your cup of tea, you have your cup of coffee, and you just want to sit and relax and get back to your book. This is one of those books.
Hmm.
Let me think. How would you compare this to where would you put this with other vampire novels?
I
Would you
love
compare
vampire novels, but that also makes me very picky about vampire novels.
Mhm,
So I love Interview with the Vampire,
mhm.
Fever Dream by George R. R. Martin, the guy that created just forgot the name of it now. What he
Game of
created.
Thrones.
Game of
Game of
Thrones.
Thrones?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um those were classic vampire stories. Dracula was, the start of it all. This is right
Mhm.
up there with those.
Yeah.
This is a very strong book.
Mhm. Miriam reminds me, did you read Camilla or
No,
Carmilla?
I haven't read that one. No.
Carmilla was written before Dracula, but
Really? Okay.
Carmilla is a female vampire.
Uh-huh.
And you may see some Carmilla in here, not just in presence maybe, but there's little, I don't know, reminders for me of Carmilla and Miriam for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get Carmilla after I'm done with the Read What Your Own challenge.
Yeah, it's short and it's short and it's good. And it may be Project Gutenberg. It may be because it's
it
that
could
old.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So, final thoughts about the book and the recommendation.
Final thoughts. Read it. It's a wonderful, compelling read. You don't even have to be a fan of vampire stories. It's just such a well-written book that the vampire part of it is almost incidental to just how strong the writing is.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. This is perfect for someone that isn't really interested in reading horror. They don't like horror. They're maybe not even a fan of vampires, but there are so many other layers to this book that this is a perfect entry level for that type of reader that wants to maybe step out and read something just a little bit different. This is a perfect time in, I think.
And it has a perfect ending. I mean, I was coming up to the ending. I'm not going to give it away. No. Coming up to the ending, I was expecting one of two endings.
Yeah.
And neither one happened.
Yeah.
What did happen stayed with me for several days. It was actually a haunting ending.
Yes. Yes. It was that good. I remember putting it down and I said, I am so glad I read the book.
Yeah. And then I had my copy's now with a coworker because she saw me reading it and enjoying it so much. She said, I want to read this book as soon as you're done. And I said, okay, there you go.
Yeah. And when we were talking about the book, we found out that this is one of a series.
Yes. I knew there was one that followed it called The Last Vampire, but then you pointed out there was a trilogy.
Yeah.
And there was a third book called Lilith.
Yes, I wanted to see if there was because sometimes when you have, a nice, paperback copy like this, I don't like to carry it around with me. I don't like to read it. So I try and get a Kindle, or not a Kindle, but like a library copy that I could shoot over to my Kindle. Nobody has it because it's the hunger. But when I was searching for it, it said one of 3, and I'm like, there's 3? Yeah. Also, if anyone is into series, this could be a great, series starter series for you. I'm going to pick up wherever I could find book number 2 and book number 3. I requested them from the library. I don't know if they'll ever get them in because they're that old. I don't even know if they're in publication or anything like that. But
and I did notice the book number 3, the title of it, Lilith, I believe it is. There's a character, I don't know if you picked up on it, that's mentioned very briefly about halfway through the book, named by that name. So I figured, it was one of Miriam's significant others. And I guess it must be her story, going back to how things happened with her.
Yeah. And all of that it piques my interest. It makes me want to read more.
Oh, absolutely.
So do you have a star rating for this?
I give 5 stars on Goodread.
5 stars for me too.
5 stars. Yep.
This was so much fun. Let's do another buddy read.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if any creators are out there and you want to do a Booktube buddy read with another booktuber, I think this could be like a fun trend. Instead of like a Tag Tuesday, people could do like Booktube buddy reads.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Right. Well, I think that we covered everything that we want to without giving away the ending. The prose was just sensory. It was thrilling. It was exciting. It was sensual. And it wasn't over the top. It wasn't, it didn't have that, didn't have that over the top feel. It was enjoyably subtle.
Yes. Yeah. He trusted you. It seemed like he was trusting you as the reader to use your imagination to fill in some of the blanks.
I totally agree with you. All right, Michael. Well, I think we covered everything. Do you think we covered everything?
I think we did. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's be sure to do another one in the future.
Absolutely. I'm game.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
That's it from me.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye.